June does not have to be filled with gloom. Let's talk about leadership. Let's move forward. Let's get unstuck and start making progress. And the first skill that we're going to focus on in this series of Learn, Think, Act, starting in June and carrying us all the way through the entire month, is going to be focused on communication. Let's clarify our mindset, attitude, belief, clarity of definition around leadership. This is mine. Leaders build leaders. Leadership starts with self. And leadership is how we move forward. So let's talk about a core skill. And there are 5 core skills. Communication is the first one I want to get into. Communication. So in communication, we have a couple of different problems with this. And anytime that you're inside an organization, you know about this. You've seen it. Heck, you might even see it inside your household. You see it on teams that you participate in. When communicating, remember this. There are things that are said. You can go to the transcript of this and read everything that was said. There are things that are said. There are things that are heard. We're going to hear something different. Every one of you is going to hear something slightly different. There are things that are said, there are things that are heard, and there are things that are remembered. So with communication, we have things that are said, heard, and remembered. If we keep this in mind, then we can go through and say, okay, there's a lot of risk. If we think we're going to have a conversation with someone and it's going to be remembered, there's huge risk because sometimes the things that are said are not necessarily heard, or things are heard a little bit differently. Let's first do this. Let's check to validate what was heard. And one of the questions I like to ask, and sometimes it'll frustrate people, but the question I'll ask is, what did you hear me say? So ask. Heard, ask. Let's validate. Let's trust that they heard it, but verify. Ask, what did you hear me say? On the remembered piece, if they heard it, let's say they heard it incorrectly. Well, now you can clarify it. Oh, excuse me, this is actually what I meant to say. There are different questions that we can ask here. Remember, when we're communicating, you've got a couple of different ways to do it. You can communicate with nonverbal. I mean, as I move forward into the camera or move back against the camera, there's a little bit of energy transfer. I use my hands. I speak. There's things that you see happen with my eyes, facial expressions. There's verbal and nonverbal communication. What was said, what was heard, what was remembered. Let's ask questions so that we can make sure, validate that the things that were said were actually heard. Then we can move into remembered. Now, the next piece I would suggest that you do with communication is ask this question. And this is going to help with some of the execution piece. Who will do what by when? Who, what, when? Who, what, when? Who, what, when? Who will do what by when? If we know what was said, we know what was heard, we then can come up with different ways to help people remember, and we validate who will do what by when, there will be significantly less confusion when it comes to communication. A friend of mine, Jody Mayberry, once said that one of the biggest challenges with communication, or biggest risks with communication, mistake, is believing that it actually occurred. So let's make sure that it occurs. All right, so that's one side of the table. If we build up this skill of being able to ask questions, deliver information, use our eyes and ears to help get feedback, what kind of tools might we apply to help improve communication, help create leverage, and really start moving the world? So from a skill set perspective, we know, hey, there are things that are said, there are things that are heard, there are things that are remembered. We ask questions to validate things. We clarify who will do what by when. We share information. Now let's get to a tool that's going to actually help you create leverage here. First thing I want to know, with effective communication, is who. Who am I actually communicating with? Who's the person receiving the message? Who am I getting the message from? Who is out there? This can work both for meetings that you have, multiple people. You add in the variables, you're going to increase complexity. It can be in an email that you send out. It could be a text message that you send out. It could be even in the messaging that I put together in videos like this. Who, okay? Who's the person? What do I anticipate are their objectives? What do I anticipate are their objectives? What do I believe the objective is of somebody who's receiving the message? I believe that your objective, if you've gotten this far into the video, is to get better at communication. Improve your leadership skills, specifically around communication. Their objective. our objective. What is my specific objective? My objective is to be informative, educational, entertaining, so that you start to make changes, maybe think differently relative to this topic like communication, and then take action. That's the whole learn something new, think, reflect, act, put it into practice. Who? Their objectives, our objectives, and desired next steps. What are the 3 desired next steps as a result? You can go with 3, at least have 1. What are the desired next steps as a result of the communication that's happening? So if we build these communication skills, we gain clarity around what information we're sharing based on understanding what our objectives are, what we're learning, our objectives, what we know about their objectives, and clarity around next steps, you will get better at communication. And you can use a tool like this, a call plan, which is where this originated from. Now I position it as an effective communication tool. You can use a tool like this to get better at communication, help your team get better at communication, help you get better at communication, help your organization get better at communication. Communication is the first skill in this series. Leaders build leaders. Leadership starts with self, and leadership is how we move forward. Let's start getting better at moving forward with communication. If you have questions around this, please share them with me. If you know somebody who might find value in this, please share it with them. If you want to share a story about how you're applying this tool in your workplace, please share that with me too. I'd love to hear it.